Welcome to the In the Works podcast, where we'll be giving you a behind-the-scenes view of what is happening in the world of Sportworks.io and Stormworks Studios. We're going to be covering the lessons learned, the products that were shipped, and stuff that's happening behind the scenes in the business. So kick back, tune in, and let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the In the Works podcast. We are once again joined by Joe Pickering, the now MD of Stormworks Studios. Today, we're going to be talking about a few things that are the realities of actually working in the sports industry from a content perspective, because it might look glamorous from the outset, but as we all know, it does have its intricacies, and it is not always straightforward. So, Joe, why don't you tee us up and help us understand a little bit more about what it's like working with athletes?
Yeah, I think the first point is they are athletes and not actors, and the people that work with them also want to maintain that they are athletes and not actors. So you never have more than 20 minutes, half an hour with a player. Even that's quite a long time. So it's quite difficult from the offset working with them. But yeah, a lot of them I feel like now are media trained enough to they know what they're doing and know what's going on, and when the cameras are on them and it's go time, that they're on it straight away. So yeah, it has its intricacies, it has its problems, but on the whole, the actors, the sports people and the athletes that we've worked with have been quite good. So yeah, but with rights holders and things like that, they're always quite protective of their athletes, so it's trying to manage physios, manage managers of football clubs, and allowing players to do certain bits. So yeah, there's a whole lot to the process rather than actors, where it's kind of you get them in and they know exactly what they're doing. They can wait for however long, and you get 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours with them. Yeah, it's very different with sports people.
Yeah, I think the time is very different. I think some people in sport, the athletes specifically, are like, they get it, they also understand it, and some of them lean into it. Like, we've worked with, Ethan Laird, for example. He's unbelievable on camera, like he just rocks up, puts a smile on, take direction, and just cracks on. There's others that need a little bit more coaching, some a bit more shy, some don't, really want to do it. But then I think you're also seeing like a bit of a change of athletes actually kind of leaning into their own personal brand a little bit more as well. You've got like Erling Haaland, for example, now started his YouTube channel playing golf, a day in the life of what it is to be Erling Haaland. Obviously, you've got the golf space with Bryson DeChambeau leaning into it more. Boxers and people who are in the fighting space leaning more into that to build their profile. So I think some really get it and really understand it and lean into it more. Others, first and foremost, all they want to care about is turning up, do training, go home. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about the actual what's required to make sure that a shoot with an athlete or athletes is going to go successfully. From your perspective, you've done this many, many times over the last 8 years. What are some of those fundamental things that make sure that when you get on set or into dealing with the athletes directly, it's going to be a good experience?
It starts at pre-production, really. Working with the club to ensure you got the right player and the right people that are going to be on set and going to be working with us and in front of camera. Like you said, the likes of Ethan Laird, the likes of Ollie Watkins, Mings, all like brilliant pros and know exactly what to do and when to do it. So working with the club, collaborating with them quite closely on pre-production, and that all works all the way to like call sheets and timings of things, and having like really good producers, and as a director doing a little bit producing myself, kind of having things on a sheet and know exactly what time we've got to shoot what and when we're shooting what, where we're shooting it, because that then feeds down to the players and the player liaison officers, because they speak to the players, speak to the managers, speak to the physios on checking their schedules and making sure everything aligns and making sure they're not sat around for too long and getting tired or fatigued, cold muscles, stuff like that. So yeah, that pre-production time is really important, making sure you basically shit hot on everything. And then yeah, when you're on set, again, they're not actors. Some of them need a little bit more directing than others, which is totally fine. It's just the nature of it. But being quite malleable on set as well, working quite closely with them and quite fast on certain things. It doesn't always go to plan working with athletes, so you've got to think quick on your feet. So yeah, it can be quite a stressful situation at times, but making sure you handle yourself correctly on set, handle your relationship with the players, and a big thing that I believe in personally is working as a team with them and not trying to come from the perspective as a fan. Because I think that immediately damages your relationship with a player. How many times do they get asked for photos and signatures? At the end of the day, you're here to do a job. We did a piece with Wayne Rooney, and he's like, growing up as a kid, he's like, he was the icon of my time of football. And we went and interviewed him when he became Birmingham City's manager. That was a bit of a crazy time for me of like, whoa, this is Wayne Rooney. This is a little bit mental. But at the end of the day, you're there to do a job, and you need to make sure that you don't try and let that fan come out as much as possible, because yeah, I feel like it instantly hurts a relationship between you and the player, or the athlete. So I think that's a really important point. At the end, when it's all said and done, and you want some behind the scenes photos with the athletes, I think it's fine. But yeah, while you're shooting, it's there to do a job. But that's from like a directing point of view. I know you've worked on the camera side of things. How do you kind of see it from like a production side of things and from behind the camera?
Yeah, obviously, you know, before Sportworks, I spent a lot of time on the cameras and on set. And yeah, I think what you described there, the crux of it really comes down to you've got to be fucking ready, and you're on the player's time, because ultimately, you know, they have a schedule as athletes that they need to stick to perform at the optimal, and the clubs or the trainers or whatever it may be, whether, you know, we've worked with like world champion boxers, MMA athletes, football players. It's like the trainers are really precious, because they know, like, if they pull something or they catch a cold or whatever it may be, it can massively destroy the performance. And when you are in the Premier League, say, the difference of having a star player be fit or not can cost you like positions in the table, which can be to the tune of millions and millions of pounds of prize money. So yeah, it's really, really about understanding when we're there, you've got to move through your shot list very quickly, and also make sure that you can be agile and move from different setups quickly as well. Like you mentioned there, with actors, you'll have them on set for a day, and they're really flexible. They'll happily do like 10 takes of something. A player wants to get in there, and you better be on it on camera to make sure that when you want to get the shot that you want to get, you're focused, you're paying attention. Because if you ask them for it 2 or 3 times, it's going to start getting a little bit more awkward. But I think, yeah, like you described as well, Connor, there's some athletes that really lean into it. Some athletes are a bit more, you know, as is true in people at large. Some people are really extrovert and up for like being on camera and, you know, doing those kinds of media activities. And some are a bit more introverted. They just want to stay to themselves. But I think, you know, one moment really sticks out to me when we went and shot with Villa, where a player has an opportunity to really like be a leader as well. And when we shot with John McGinn, we've shot with John McGinn multiple times, and he's always does his job as a captain to be energetic, enthusiastic, make people feel welcome. And we had this activation that we did for a brand, and these 3 blokes came down. They played with Emi Buendia, John McGinn,
it was Callum Chambers,
and Callum Chambers as well. And look, everybody else left, and John McGinn stuck around and said, "Lads, what are you doing? Are you busy? Have you got, you know, anything planned?" They're like, no, like we're not. And he goes, "Well, come with me. I'm going to give you a personal walk around of Bodymore Heath and like show you around the grounds and introduce you to everybody," which is just like a moment, like a fan moment. Like they'll never forget that. So I think, you know, for athletes and being on camera, it's like, yes, some of them might be a bit awkward, but those that lean into it, you see like it does a huge amount for their profile.
Yeah, definitely. Emmy Martinez as well, when we was at Villa, did that the piece with Monster Energy. He was classy. Anybody needed anything, like, do you want some lunch? We've got some protein shakes here. Do you want some of those? And yeah, really, it was really personable. And I think that just elevates an experience from a fan, from a production point of view. We worked with some good clubs. Aston Villa on a whole were quite good on the production side of things. Make sure we had everything. Yeah, really good. But you can't really beat players that really dive into that experience and try and help out fans wherever possible on set.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the experiences with some of these athletes. I know we've had some pretty entertaining ones over the years. What's your favourite one, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like who's your favourite child. It's quite hard to pick. It's quite hard to pick just one. I don't know if it counts as an athlete. He was competing on the day, but working with Tom Hardy for Reorg. That was a pretty special moment. And I know all we did was, we interviewed him and captured the day of his first, open jiu-jitsu event, which he smashed, won gold. But yeah, that was pretty mad. See Tom Hardy growing up, watching his films, seeing him live in the flesh and then interviewing him, speaking with him like personally about like jiu-jitsu and like fighting. That was pretty crazy.
After you've wrestled through the army of mums wanting to get a photo with him.
Yeah. But that, a testament to him, he was just happy.
He took a photo of every single
one.
Like even just to speak to him, because he stuck around with like all of the team that brought us in as well to film the event, and he's just such a lovely bloke.
Yeah, and he's in that mind frame of he's now got to go and fight, not for his life, but he's got to fight. He's got to get into that mind frame. So for him to switch from that, go and fight, to then, being this lovely personable man that he is in Tom Hardy, and take photos with everyone, have conversations with everyone. There weren't one person that he asked for a photo or had a conversation with that he said no to. So that was a really cool moment just for us, and to meet him and how nice he was. But yeah, I mean, working with the Blues players as well is always great as a fan. But yeah, that Wayne Rooney moment was pretty special as well.
Tell everybody what you did. You trashed up Wayne Rooney's house, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, breaking all of his interior.
Yeah, I mean, for a start, we had to meet his security team at a pub nearby. We wasn't allowed to have his location or his postcode or his house. So we had to meet his security team at a pub nearby, follow them through these country lanes, and all of a sudden you come to these gates, and these gates open, and it's like a huge manor house. So we drive up, and we were actually filming in his second house. So it wasn't even his house. His second house was twice the size of my actual house. So that was pretty crazy. I think Colleen was in the courtyard opposite, in that room opposite the courtyard where we were filming for her reality TV show. So there was a bunch of crew and cast there already. And then we get into the room where we film Wayne Rooney, and yeah, trying to put down the blinds, and the whole blind falls off. And yeah, that's not really a house you want to start messing up. Just as you get in, he's a brand new manager of Birmingham City.
Would have thought
Club.
you could have afforded some better quality blinds there.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I only touched them and they fell off.
That's what you say.
Yeah, which nobody believed. But in the end, did we fix them in the end? I can't remember. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, if he's got any problems with the blinds now, that wasn't us. Yeah, we're don't come knocking at our door. But yeah, that was so messed up his blinds, and yeah, had to kind of figure that out really quick. Luckily, he wasn't in the room when that happened. Otherwise, I think it would have been a very different conversation. But yeah, very cool moment to interview arguably one of the best players England's ever produced. So yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. What about you guys?
Yeah, choosing between the babies, I think I've got 3 that I'll just put on the table.
Triplets.
For different reasons, really. One is that because let's be honest, in no uncertain terms, Wayne Rooney is like an icon of English football. You know, growing up, you know, you saw him week in, week out, and you know, on the playground screaming Rooney when you're firing one between the jumpers on the park.
Did you have a skinhead?
I didn't have the skinhead. No. So Rooney, just from that moment, I think that's one of the only times I've been like a little bit starstruck at seeing him in the flesh. Another one is when, and just a kind of a general one is working with the women's teams and the the players. They're so much more open to just getting involved with kind of bit of banter and taking direction, and they're a little bit less. I think they're just easy to work with, I think, as a whole.
Yeah.
So from a production point of view, working with the ladies teams is a bit more of a breeze. You get more time, etc. as well. And then last one's when you race the fastest player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Mickey van der Ven.
Didn't you have Mickey van der Ven, you know, like pulling him into thinking that you're being trained by Usain Bolt?
Yeah. So I feel like this story does need a little bit of background, because at the moment it sounds a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, Monster Energy, we've done a few pieces with them, but we did a piece with Spurs for their fan experience, and the whole premise of the video was I was a fan, and it was like a POV shoot. So it was me going into the ground, speaking with the players, what type of nutrition do they have, what type of pre-match do they have, going and training. So it was almost like an immersive experience as like a fan going to a training day with Tottenham Hotspur. We did a piece previously with Villa as well, with Monster Energy, in the same sort of premise. But when we were in pre-production planning this all out, it was kind of like we had some crazy ideas. A lot of the ones that Tottenham shut down, but one of them that they did allow through was having a little bit of a mini race against Mickey van der Ven. So fast forward to the shoot, there I am with my massive POV helmet rig, which I'm sure we've got photos of that we can put in this piece here. And I'm racing the fastest man in the Premier League, and he's not giving it full beans. I'm giving it full beans, but my full beans is almost like halved by the 20 kg helmet I've got on my head. But he's going quite slow, so I'm racing him. And then all of a sudden, I can't hear anything or see anything because obviously I got the POV helmet on. And all of a sudden, I just see him walking away, and he kind of like we get the. I think it was either one of you, could kind of give us the shake of the head of like the physio's going absolutely
the
crazy.
coach, the physio.
He wanted to go again though.
Yeah, he was up for
it.
He was up for it, and then we had a bit of an exchange, and I was like, well, as a kid, I was like trained by Usain Bolt. He was like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, do you not say how fast I was? I said, race me without this helmet and then we'll see. And yeah, I think he believed it for all of 5 seconds, and then was just like, that's completely ridiculous. But yeah, very cool moment racing against Mickey van der Ven, and then got to have a little put off against Happy Sar as well on their makeshift putting green at Tottenham's training ground, which is just like so impressive. The facilities there, well, the England squad I think use it as well sometimes when they stay over, and when they play at Wembley, they use Tottenham's training ground. So yeah, really impressive. But yeah, that was a cool moment race against Mickey.
What about you? What's your?
Yeah, I think we've all got similar babies that we quite like. You know, I do think.
I should hope not.
But yeah, the Mickey one was hilarious, to be fair, and that's just a prime example of like the realities of shooting with athletes. Is you've concocted this like pretty fun idea, which, let's be fair, once it goes into a content piece, people are going to like it. It's like it's quite playful, and it'll get engagement. But like the reality of the staff around the club are like absolutely not. They seem absolutely pegging it. But yeah, that was a funny one. The Rooney one, I share your guys' sentiment. Like, he's just a living legend in the world of sport, and I think also just the build-up of it as well, because we were in the know that he was going to become the new manager of Birmingham City before it was publicly announced. So it was like almost doing a bit of a covert operation, you know, saying like go to like a pub about 2 miles from his house, and there's like a convoy of black cars that come. Yeah, it just felt very cool. And he was a really nice bloke as well, like, you know, very accommodating. Got like 3 golf simulators in his house. Don't know why you need 3, but you know.
I think all of them were empty as well.
Yeah, like none of them being used. They were like, oh, you can use this, because we were looking at actually filming in one of them and doing like a bit of a blackout in there. They were like, yeah, so this is this is the golf simulator, or you can use this other room, or you can use one of the other 2 golf simulators. But yeah, so I agree with your guys. Like there's some highlights for me. I think I mentioned that Villa one as well for John McGinn. I think, obviously it was a relatively simple, fun, like social activation. So it wasn't like it was some super cinematic piece that we did. But I think just seeing the human side of a player like that, and, knowing what it meant to those guys to actually get the experience to go and walk around Bodymore, I just think, that was one for the cockles of my heart. I appreciated.
Yeah, I think the Christmas ad as well, the recent Christmas ad that we shot with Birmingham City, that was just a pretty mad time coming up to Christmas. But yeah, it was like wasn't the fast. Well, it wasn't the we had to turn it around really, really fast, didn't we? In pre-production, we got like a couple of days' notice and had to cast it, crew it all up, make sure all the food was there. But that table of food, obviously coming into Christmas, you're doing all your own planning of like turkeys and what you're going to do on Christmas Day and stuff like that. And then to see the Blues catering staff just whip up that absolutely crazy meal.
There's the densest turkey I've ever seen.
Yeah, which all that food on that table is real, by the way. It was all cooked.
And on performance enhancing drugs, the turkey.
Yeah, that turkey was just, I don't know what steads it was.
I was having none of that turkey.
Yeah. It was getting called out straight away. But yeah, all that food was real. Glyn Purnell's wife did all the little bits of like the icing, club crest and stuff. The 150th anniversary club crest that was like fully, like you could eat all that stuff, and that was all done by Glyn Purnell's wife. So it was a real pull together of everyone a part of the club. We had a great crew on there, and it just went really well. It was crazy. It was a bit of a blur actually in terms of directing it. It all went so fast, but it was a really good shoot. Everyone was class. You got Kyogo Iwata, Delia Adebola, which is one of my personal favourite pros, and people to work with. And Keris as well, Keris Harrop, who's brilliant. You had Mark Leonard, Allsop. Yeah, we had some of the foundation and some of the kids there as well. It was just really good shoot, quite wholesome, and yeah, that food was just unbelievable. The way they pulled that together.
It was class, to be fair. It looked the dog's bollocks when it was all done, like totally. And the piece came out awesome as well.
Yeah, looked really good.
So let's talk a little bit now with in terms of what's been in the works from a Stormworks perspective. We've talked a little bit about the athletes. Now let's talk a little bit about what's happening out in the world of content and sport. And I know a sport that is very close to you, Joe. I know you've been ploughing on with getting out in all weathers, practicing, and also has captured your attention and my attention over the last 12 months is golf. It's a sport that has historically been, deemed as like a bit highbrow, a bit niche, a bit of an old boys sport, but it seems to have gone on an absolute charge over the last, 5 years. Brands popping up with a really novel approach to the way that they're going about, positioning themselves and marketing themselves, and it seems to be capturing a new audience. So talk to me a little bit about how you see the landscape of golf and what's changed over the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been really into golf over the past few years. My old man introduced me to it a long time ago. He was quite a good golfer, but never really picked up the sport as a kid, was always into football. But the past couple of years, I think in the introduction of the content and where it's going, it's made a complete switch from the classic tours and the way that they're shown and the way the content's put out, broadcast, in terms of the way that that's shown as well. It's just gone into a completely different stratosphere. The classic tours and the way that they're shown live still have big numbers, big views in terms of the Masters, the Open, and some of the bigger events. But when it comes to content, that YouTube space and where golf sits in that space is just on another level. I think it's really changing. Some of the brands that are coming out as well, the likes of Manners, the likes of Cobra, the way that they're shooting some stuff, and some of the other smaller brands now are really starting to use golf in terms of that lifestyle, that more personal piece. So it's always been, as you said, a bit of a highbrow, bit of people who are well off play it, older people play it, but that's completely changing now, and we're seeing it in golf clubs up and down the country. I think it's one of the fastest rising sports for young people in the world at the moment. And yeah, that's through the help of LIV Golf. They made a massive charge on this golf game and the way it's going in that positive direction, but also the YouTubers, the likes of Rick Shields, Peter Finch, Good, Grant Horvat, and then the Bob Does Sports, Barstool, Invitational that went on as well. That got stupid, crazy views, and it was just so great to see a piece of content, YouTubers, people within that world come together, all try and compete for $1 million, and that's never been done before in the world of content, the world of YouTube, and the world of golf. So yeah, it's moving in a really interesting direction. I'm loving it. I consume so much of the content. I know you guys do too as well, watching it. But yeah, it's moving in a real positive direction, and something that, like, again, as a managing director of Stormworks, something that I really want to plow on with and try and capture that and get some more content within that world, both personally and for the business as well.
Yeah, because you've been rocking your TikTok, haven't you?
I've been trying to. It's hard filming content and golfing at the same time. It's carrying golf clubs is hard around a golf course. Try that with like an FX6 tripod and a microphone. But yeah, I've been trying to do a little bit. I'm slowly getting better. It's a hard sport, as you both can attest to.
Yeah, it's quite challenging on my mental health sometimes.
Yeah,
I either absolutely love it or it's the most frustrating thing I've ever done. Yeah. But I think that's why you keep going back, because you hit one good shot and you're like, all right.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense for so back. But yeah, it's incredible to see the rise, because my granddad played golf. He still plays golf. I just looked at it as an old man sport. Obviously, seen the change and seen the way the media output of the sport is now. Obviously, you picking it up, coming out with you, and I was like, why didn't you take me out when I was younger whilst you were playing? I absolutely love it. Just out in the open air on the like beautiful golf courses with your pals, like having a laugh, having a joke. And also, business gets done on the golf course as well.
It definitely does.
There's so many components to why I think it's also like just taken off. But a key thing is it's just been completely re-energized from the media standpoint. The way that it was kind of portrayed as, okay, you have to go in like a vest, a knitted vest, and like the way like the dress sense was, that's all been completely turned on its head to also attract younger people into sport. You can kind of dress in so many different ways now. Obviously, there's still some places that are a little bit more traditional, but fundamentally, you can kind of go, you can be yourself on the golf course. You can, yeah, and just it's 4 hours where you just kind of shutting off the world a little bit, and you're just there to have a good time, which I think in today's landscape as well, where there's so much going on all the time, that is just that escape that people are really enjoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think for me, that's one of my favorite parts about it. I mean, you two both know I'm not great at golf. I've not been playing that long, but my handicap is heavy, let's just say. But it is that. It's like sometimes you hit one absolutely sweet, or you put one from like, fucking 10 yards, and it's better than sex. Like, it is unbelievable.
Yeah. I think it's become so much more accessible. Like, it was that highbrow, older boy, got a lot of dough. And now it's kind of like you can kind of dress quite cool on the golf course.
I think that's a big thing, because it's like golf always had that like old highbrow, but in the modern golf, it's like it's almost popular now, that old money look, trying to like, but people don't want to dress in like old money in a way that is actually like you look like an old codger on a golf course. It's like there's new like fashion designs coming around it, and some of the clobber that you can get around golf is like some of the nicest I've seen personally.
Yeah, look at the likes of Jason Day, who signed with Melbourne Golf, who is wearing like tracksuits on the golf course and playing in tracksuits, and it's kind of like, where do you draw the line? It's kind of, if you're in a tournament, should we be wearing a tracksuit? But But like as I said, personally, especially from my age, I'm all for that. If it doesn't affect his game, if it only makes it better, then why shouldn't he be able to dress how he wants? Obviously, there is a line. He's not be coming out like a mankini.
Oh, sorry, I've been going wrong. Nero's getting some weird looks.
Yeah. I thought, why is he always mankini?
I know you've been
Really
telling me
playing
to
the keels.
retire it for years, but
Yeah.
it's comfortable.
But yeah, I just think the likes of that, him turning up in a tracksuit makes it a lot more accessible for people, for younger people. And yeah, I'm all for it. As I said, manners is a big one I want to mention, because I think they changed the game a little bit with how they did content. They weren't just a clothing brand. They were almost like a vessel for other people and other groups of people to come into the sport. And some of the clothes, some of the garments that they've got are really quite cool and look the bollocks. But yeah, their content is class and their storytelling is really good. Because that's all golf is, as you said. It's connections, it's making stories with people, and business gets done on the golf course. But it's relaxing, it's hard, it's frustrating, it's excitement, it's so many feelings on the golf course. I think manners do that and portray that feeling, all those feelings really well. But yeah, I'm really excited to where the game's going to go. I'm excited to see where LIV goes now.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen?
I'm not sure, because I'm a big fan of how they've came out, been quite disruptive in that area of golf, and kind of turned the whole way that golf is portrayed and the way that golf is played on its head. Just put a lot of money in signing some of the biggest players in the world. But some people are reverting back. Like Brooks Koepka's now gone back to PGA, had some ridiculous. He signed a contract which has got some ridiculous things, like he can't earn any money on the 2026 PGA Tour. All his money has to go to, or he has to make a considerable donation to a charity. And he signed the contract, so that shows how much he wants to get back into the PGA. So I think LIV might have to pivot a little bit. I think maybe they've been too disruptive. But again, I love their content. The stuff they put up out on YouTube is brilliant. Granted, I don't watch too many of the live shows in terms of LIV. But I really like a team aspect anyway through football. I just don't know if everybody's on the same page. I think people were like, yeah, I'm all for it, and kind of reverting back.
It's never going to be perfect on the first crack.
No.
You know, it was V1 of trying to do something that was like re-innovate the whole game and the format of it. But you know, I think they'll come back. They'll keep going. But I think there'll be things that they've learned from it, and then that they want to keep, and things that they don't want to keep. I think, you know, we've discussed a lot today about the key thing that has been a driving force behind golf becoming so successful is content. And I think that is true at large as a blueprint for sports. If sports brands, whether that's like a sport at large or an individual, you know, club or organization, the key to unlocking it is content. Because fundamentally, content drives more awareness, more visibility, more eyeballs. That allows you to develop more advertising space where you can attract more brands and generate more revenue. So, you know, F1 was, I think, before golf, a really great example where they had a similar profile of demographics, you know, slightly older audience, highbrow, quite elitist as a sport. Drive to Survive just blew the whole thing up, and they brought people into the stories. And, you know, before that, one case study that I absolutely love that I think nailed content is the UFC. You know, they, from the get-go, Dana White, he's one of my favorite entrepreneurs, to be honest. Just I like his style, but he just stood by, like, we've got some unbelievable people that have got some unbelievable stories in this sport, and our job is to tell the stories of these people and connect people to it. And people then get invested, way more invested, to actually watch the sport. And now, you know, like the UFC's killing it. You know, they've gone through numerous deals with like Fox and ESPN, and they've just signed Paramount. So they've removed the pay-per-view completely, and it's now a globally dominating sport. So I think there's a lot that can be learned from those three particular stories: golf, F1, UFC. content is the currency to drive in more revenue.
Even look at the likes of like Legends Tour as well, which we've been working a little bit closely to. Their content is getting a whole lot better. They're making a big push on content and showing some of these stories, because at the end of the day, that's what people are attached to. It's more people become more personal. These athletes become more personable, and you can relate to them a little bit more, and that's what people like. And then those numbers only drive commercial value, as we've seen with the rise of Stormworks and when we've been growing that business. But yeah, it's the currency at the moment, both in football, golf, all over the world. Every sport we're seeing, content is currency. People want to become media houses. People want to start pumping out content, but quality content, story-led content. And that's why I think it's a really exciting time for Stormworks as well. Working with some of these rights holders, working with some of these brands and athletes, and trying to disrupt their industry, make different content, but content that cuts through and people can relate to as well.
Absolutely. Right, gents, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to call it there. Any final remarks on golf?
Well, what's your plans for golf? Because I know we've got into it over the past year, but I haven't seen you on a golf course recently.
He's out there. He's out there in the snow.
I'll be honest, it's been about a month since I've been on the golf course. Which I don't think's too bad. But I'll come play with you this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, what are your plans with it? Have you got any goals in terms of golf?
Try and not be a shit. It's really that simple, to be fair. It's, going out in England at the minute is a bit chilly, but that's, as you say, that's where the men are made.
Yeah, you're in your mankini, aren't you?
That's
Yeah. Bit of clothes and you'll be all right.
Yeah, you're all fur coat, no mankini, ain't you?
Some might say, yeah.
No, but I think it's a really hard sport. I think it just consistency. You need to get out there. The only way you're going to improve is keep on doing it. Come rain, wind or shine. Hopefully more shine, but that doesn't happen too much in this country. But yeah, I'm going to try and get down to a single digit handicap. I'm floating in around 13, 14 at the moment. So I'm going to try and get down to 9 before the end of the year. But yeah, trying to put as much time in through the winter, then come summer, play as much as possible to my missus's demise. But yeah, she's not going to be too happy with me, but I have to got some making up to do.
Handicap to deal with. She needs to understand priorities.
She needs to accept.
Yeah.
There's certain things that a man needs to do, and this is one of them. So yeah, but exciting times. I think the world of golf is moving in a real cool direction, and yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it, both through Sportworks and Stormworks.
And your little society that you've got.
Yeah.
Go on, give a plug.
Yeah, so 18 holes later, started it about midway through last year. Just the way, I just seen like we're all playing in little 4-balls here and there, and people wanted to join, but there wasn't enough time. So I thought, why not just create a society where we all like to play golf. A lot of my other friends as well, Core from like Birmingham, like to play golf as well. Their dads like to play golf, and some of the older like to play golf as well. So why not just create a society? So yeah, 18 holes later was formed, and 18 holes, it's all quite serious. But then the later part, we can all sit back, relax, have a drink, and get a little bit silly. But yeah, last year was a bit of a pilot for it. Did a couple of quite good competitions. Everyone loved it. And we're raving about it and wanted to do it this year. So yeah, this year is a fully fledged season. I'm in the works at setting that up right now, speaking to a load of golf courses. But yeah, that's going to be really exciting, and I think a way for everyone to get involved, play more golf, but so it's not so serious. But at the end, if you do want to be serious, you can win quite a bit of money. So yeah, that should be good. I'll post it all over socials if anyone wants to join. There's only going to be 24 spots, because that's the only time I can put into it, and the only amount of players I can be bothered to try and handle, because that's a lot of people to try and organise for. So there's going to be 24 spots. So if anyone wants to join, I'll put it out on socials, and yeah, just drop me a message.
And I can attest, it is a very, very fun experience. We went and played one of them, didn't win, unfortunately, but the crack is brilliant and super well organised. So yeah, check it out, peeps. That about wraps it up for this podcast. Cheers, guys, for coming on. Been a good chat, and we'll catch you in the next episode.